Take a deep breath in. What the heck? Hey, I got something to say. Women around the world and men that support us. I got tons and tons of questions. I don't even know if my next guest can answer them. But here's the deal. I'm going to send you so much ease and flow. All right? Because it's off the chain. You're like, I'm anxious. I'm overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do here. I can't drink enough tea, Sandy. I meditate. I'm working out. And then you read about Erica and that she was a therapist and she had 3 kids. And Erica, welcome to the show because the questions came flooding in. How are you?
Oh, Tandy, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It is a pleasure. I think I can get along well with your listeners because I got to be honest. Right before we came onto this podcast, I was stripping off pea-soaked pants from my 2-year-old and trying to get them all clean before I came into this room. So I'm happy to be here.
Somebody else must be managing the chaos because I know you told me they all 3 were home or from school because you have some snow.
Yes, yeah. Plans don't always go as you think they will. And we thought we would have a quiet house for today, but all 3 are home and the dogs are here and I'm here also.
All right, well, I got so many questions for you, and it's a short show. So let's just dive
Yeah.
in first to your short bio and the one thing you want to tell peeps around the world. Erica is a therapist in a private practice. She's also the co-host, which is how I met her, of the REI Agent podcast with her husband. And she's an investor, all while raising, holler, 3 energetic kids. Amid a busy life, she must have a good system. She prioritizes balance through CrossFit, meaning I didn't tell her to say she worked out, meaningful friendships, rest, which is a challenge, and she says it with an exclamation mark, and travel. Hosting our podcast has been an unexpected gift. I bet it has. Bringing new friends, wisdom, and a mindset of abundance that has transformed both her personally and professionally. And I can tell you that for true because that's how we met. So
Mhm.
let's get right into it because I know you had trouble narrowing it down, but I love this one. Don't allow your life to lead you. You lead your life, then lean in. You go, Erica. Tell us why you picked that one of all the ones that you wanted to pick.
Oh, so I came up with this one because it has been my experience personally, a growth area for me, as well as when I work with my clients. There's so many times where I have felt like life is just throwing whatever it has at you. You can't catch up. You're trying to make it. You're trying to feel like you have a plan or that you can get on top of the week, whether it's meal planning or kids or career or just pressures around you. And a lot of times it's hard to think outside of just that moment. And so when I thought about this particular statement, I was thinking about how, man, if we could really think about the things that would free us up or the what are we afraid of that's holding us back? If we can figure out what that is and we can get ahead of it, man, what would that open up for you in your life? And for me, one of the bigger pieces of that was leaving a full-time job and going into private practice where I could rearrange my schedule. But man, there was a whole lot of fear in front of me when I took that jump. It was in the middle of COVID. I had 2 young kids at the time. I didn't know if it was going to be successful, but I did it anyway. And it took a lot of courage, but man, I'm so glad it did. It opened up some things and ended up helping me feel like I can be in charge of my life instead of having life happen to me. And so that was the root of where that one came from.
Hmm. Okay. So I have so many questions for you, but I'm going to prioritize. The
Huh.
first one I have is what is your ideal client that you see as a therapist? Or do you have like your sweet spot or is it all over the place?
Oh, it is probably 95% women.
Oh, okay.
I sort of happened into this population of women going through postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, but then it also shifted into identity development as women, the ones that I have worked with have gone through different phases in their life trying to figure out, well, who am I now? And can there be a me in this phase of life? And how do I incorporate these new parts of myself? And what could I become? And so that ends up being a lot of the work that I do. There are a few other things sprinkled in there, but that's by far and large the majority.
I knew you were perfect for this show. I didn't even know that, but I knew you were perfect. Okay, well then we're going to dive into this heavy stuff right now. We're
Oh,
just
great.
going to
Good.
don't
Yeah.
worry, that's still be light. But I always say at the end, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I got a therapist, so I have to ask.
I am here and I'm ready.
Okay, and this could be helpful to me too.
Mhm.
So many of my lovely, awesome, amazing peeps out there wrote in about not being able, especially recently, to manage their anxiety or stress. And I have one young lady who is a junior at college. So we're going to go with her because I usually don't get the youngins. So I love this one. Dear Erica, all I can say is, well, I won't say that, but all right. I usually can manage school, work, and yes, my family. Let's not put it in, let's not put it in that order. I love that. But recently, I just don't know what to do. I'll be walking down the sidewalk at school, and all of a sudden I start panicking. Did I get this done? Did I get that done? Did I get this done? And I know. Wait, my mom says, just breathe, take one step at a time. But just breathing and taking one step at a time doesn't work for me. I end up in the cafeteria just eating away. Please help.
Oh, that's so hard. And this is somebody in college, right?
Third year, junior.
Third year. Oh, and that's a stressful year too. That's where things start getting really serious and the course load amps up and you have internships and you start thinking about graduation and what you're going to do after that. There's just so much involved in that year. And so first of all, I just want to say I feel you there. That's such a hard place to be. And also anxiety thrives in that year. It really, really, really does. The now generally speaking, like the freshman year, you're sort of figuring things out. A lot of people just sort of like fall down the hill that year. And then the second year and your sophomore year, you start to figure things out a little bit more. And then the junior year, you know enough, but you still don't have it quite all figured out for the rest of your life. And it's just a really stressful time.
Yeah.
And if I was sitting with this particular writer,
Call her
I
Betty
would.
Boot. We're going to call her Betty Boot.
Okay. If I was sitting with you, man, first of all, I would just be like, you know what? Lay it all on me. I want to hear all of it. Everything that's stressing you out, just vomit it out because I want to hear. I don't need it to be organized. I don't need you to even like think clearly about it. I just want you to tell me everything that's going on.
Mm.
And we're not necessarily going to even fix it. We're just going to say, this is a lot, and I get why you're feeling so anxious about it. And breathing is great. I'm all on board with breathing, but sometimes, particularly with panic, that can be the hardest thing to do because you can't breathe when you're panicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to lay it all out there and just to get it out and to have a conversation about it over coffee or tea, that's often what we do in session in my office. And then if I gave you one practical piece, especially for panic, if you can carry around a bottle of cold water, that is the best thing for panic. Some kind of a temperature change. You can place a cold ice pack on the back of your spine, like right by your spinal cord where it connects to your skull. Carbonated cold water, though, is going to be one of the best pieces because it calms down your vagus nerve, your cortisol levels will go down, your body will realize that you're not going to be eaten by a tiger. It's okay, and
Yeah.
it'll calm you down just a tad. It's not going to fix everything, but it will help.
I love that. My son, the reason I was asking this, and my son is a sophomore in college, and he carries around a cold water bottle, and he said it's very soothing to him. I
Oh,
for whatever reasons, and it has to be a specific kind, and he likes that his hands can feel the cold.
yeah.
I can't, I gotta
Science
tell, he's
behind
on to
it.
something.
There is.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
And then I mean, I was just doing it by trial and error, but his freshman year, unfortunately, somebody very, very dear to him passed away, a young lady. And It was his first day of school.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So imagine. And
Ugh.
I was able to, because of my schedule, drive down there, be with him in between classes, on campus. And he would get so filled with anxiety. And he did, of course, he had therapists and counselor. They were really great. But what I would do, he would say, Mom, I can't even breathe. Right. So he would come in my car and just sit until his system quiet down. And then we would just do self-talk. I've been here before. I'll be okay. It's all
Mm.
going to be all right. And his system then would regulate. And believe it or not, most times within 10 or 15 minutes, he'd be able to go back into class. But it wasn't enough for him to just breathe and walk and say it's going to be okay. He needed somewhere safe to go. I don't know what I was doing, but it seemed to work. I don't know if there's any
Oh,
real
that's
science behind that.
totally, totally. To have somebody, what you were doing was co-regulation, which is something that parents do so well with their kids, probably without even realizing it. But if you're calm and you're breathing slowly and you're talking slowly, he is going to very naturally mirror you, whether he wants to or not.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it's a nice job.
I was just doing it out of instinct. Like, okay, if that's not working, just come
Yeah,
on in, put some music on. If you go to class, great. If you don't, you know. And it seemed to be that's what worked. And thank God, it got him
yeah,
through.
yeah.
But he
That's
did have a question for you.
okay. Okay.
All right. This is from my son, the same thing. And it
Okay.
has nothing to do with this. I see my mom juggling her work, her friends, and me. How the heck do you do 3 kids? Please, please help. She has a she has a lot of friends with a lot of kids, and I don't think they're doing so well. Oh my God. He's a hoot.
Well, first of all, man, to your son, I don't know if anybody can necessarily do it well. I haven't seen that yet. But I can say it has taken a lot of strategy for us. And Matthias and I, my husband, we are constantly figuring out new ways to manage everything. We just started like a Sunday sit down where we'll sit down with our 5 different calendars and we will plan out what each day looks like and who's doing pickups and who's doing drop offs and who's going to be with the kids. This week we had contingency plans if the snow day would come, who was going to be with the kids, who needed to cancel their appointments. And we also decided a couple years ago to have a little bit of help from a college student who comes a couple of days a week and covers some of the hours for us, so we can make sure that we get other places. I think there's a lot, or I felt at least, I felt a lot of pressure to do everything on our own and not to have help. And I don't know why. I don't know where that comes from because
I
I
don't
think
know either.
help is amazing. I feel like we should use that as much as we can. And I love having them. And this our college student who's working with us this semester is incredible. And teaches us things that we wouldn't normally think about. So to answer your question, I think the best way that I can juggle everything is to try and prioritize my own health too, which for me is getting to the gym, which I do CrossFit. And I love those workouts. They're different every day. And I always end up on the floor like gasping for breath. And I love it. And then once I finish a workout there, I feel like I can pretty much handle anything for a while. And plus, our kids are a lot of fun most of the time. So that helps.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to make sure because my listeners always love me to recap. Accept help. Big thing. Accept
Yes,
help. Number
yes,
one, it's not a
yes,
failure. It's actually a success. And it's
yes.
a village. And for you, you're fortunate. It sounds like you have a partner that you're a team with, which is amazing that you tag team who can do what and which I think is amazing. But if you don't, you got to bring in other people, family or not family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess I too want to say, because I don't want anyone out there feeling like I have this figured out and why can't they? Because it is a constant recalibration for Matthias and I to figure out who feels like they're pulling more weight on the work side versus the family side, and how do we need to readjust? It's a constant conversation.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. By the way, you from the beginning exuded vulnerability, like, yo, I'll have all the answers. Like, I'm in this with you, and I can just tell you what. works for me now, but maybe not next month. I don't
Yeah,
know.
totally, totally.
You must be a phenomenal therapist. I mean, I
Oh,
can just tell. Even when you were answering the questions for like Betty Boop or something, your whole body language changes. I could see the empathy coming through like for the other person. And I love that you're like, just dump it on me. What is it? Let's get it
yes.
all out. Yeah. We don't
Oh,
have all the answers.
yeah. Oh, thank you. It's such a fun, rewarding job.
Oh my God, you must be amazing. I mean, I know you are amazing. Okay, let's switch gears just a little bit. You can reach out to her. Wait, oh. So do you work virtually with people before I
I
forget?
do. I do. I'm only licensed in Virginia at this point. They're working on getting other states involved, but at this point, Virginia. Yep.
Okay. All right. So if you're in Virginia, you're one lucky person. All right. Now, the real estate, was that something you were both involved in? Or did you come in after a while? Like, how'd that work out? Because I'm like, why am I on the real estate program? I really
Yeah.
for health and wellness mindset.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess that's how do I even go back to that? I mean, so my husband's a real estate agent, and he got into the investing side of things before I was ready to. And we talk about this story a lot, where he came to me with our very first investment opportunity, and I was 2 or 3 days out from my first C-section. This was my second child, but I was planning on having a baby on Monday, and this was Friday that he was approaching me with this. And I was like, I mean, I think I froze. I was kind of paralyzed by the idea. I wasn't ready for that, but I remember thinking at the time, this is a critical moment in our relationship. I need to say yes to this because it's going to build trust between him and I. And that was
Mm.
the reason I said yes. And that got us into the investment world. And since then, we've done quite a few different investments. We've held a couple of rentals. We're still it's been single family homes so far, but and so that started building our portfolio. And then he wanted to start a podcast. And a friend of ours was like, you need Erica to co host this with you. And I would have never, ever thought about doing something like that.
Yeah.
But I have taught myself I'm not going to say no to something just because I'm afraid of it. And so I'm going to do this and I'm just going to see where it goes. And it's been so fun. I mean, Sandy, I got to meet you. We've met
Yeah.
so many amazing people over the last year. We started it in April. So we're coming up on a
Wow.
year here soon. And we've learned so much too, even in the way that we think about life and the world and investments and just being generous and in spirit and just wanting to share the wealth around just in wisdom too. It's been great.
I am blown away how many people say that to me, that they started a podcast for one reason, but now they keep it going because of all the amazing people they meet and connect with. And
Yeah.
every single time you're going to learn something new. I don't care, no matter
Yeah.
what,
Absolutely.
every single time. All right. So you touched on this a little bit, but I want to go really into identify the barriers holding you stuck and work through them. So let's go with Bonnie's question. I love my people. They have a nice sense of humor. Dear Erica, barriers holding you back? I started making a list. I ran out of paper. How, where do I start? Okay, I'm not gonna wait. She's funny. I'm not gonna blame my parents, but I do feel like I did take some of their as she calls them, funny habits of being afraid to try new things. So when I started making my list, I saw, oh my goodness, there's so many reasons why I'm not doing what I'm doing. Where should I start?
Mm. Did she send the list in? I want to see the list.
Oh my God, do you want the list?
Did she actually send it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great, great. Well, first of all, congrats on making the list. That's like step one. I'm very curious what's on this list.
Oh, you want me to give you a few?
Give me a couple. Yeah, that'll give me a good
All
idea.
right. Number one, networking. She doesn't like going out, especially when she doesn't have, by the way, I love my people. They're very thorough. I don't like walking in if, what does that say? if somebody isn't with me, number one. Number two, I don't like disappointing people. I hate seeing their frowny faces. Number three, I think I'm a people pleaser. Number four, I try to be there for everyone and I end up not doing anything right. Number five, I have problems saying no. Number six, I'm glad I used a fake name. I think I should ditch my husband. Her name really isn't Bonnie. Number seven, I'm not good with technology. She has 25. I'm not going through all of them. And
Yeah.
all right, but number eight, she hates working out. And she knows I'm a big proponent. In order to stay in that positive, powerful mindset, in some way, you gotta move every day.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Oh
great
my
list.
God, is she funny?
Ah, she is. See, this is a therapist. I mean, I think I just love people. I also want to sit down with her. It'd be so great to sit down and talk through some of these things.
Bonnie, you got well, she can't because she's not in Virginia.
Yeah, I gotta move. I know. I gotta move. I'll come to her.
Okay. I thought therapists could go anywhere virtually. Wow, I didn't
They,
know.
oh, they are working on it. There's some legislation that's being passed where eventually in the next year, I think that's going to be possible. But right now, I'd have to apply to every state's board to be approved as a therapist,
Yeah.
which, yeah, comes with a lot of fees. But this particular list, one of my, I often tell my clients, it's impossible to make a lot of growth if you're always comfortable. And so some of these barriers on this list, if I were sitting down with you, I would really encourage you to practice doing some of these things that make you feel so uncomfortable, knowing that it's not going to be perfect or for the first time. You might walk into a room by yourself and stumble over your words, having a conversation with somebody, but you know what? You walked into a room by yourself. And so pushing yourself through some of these pieces that really freak you out and make you feel scared and doing them anyway. And this is something I will tell you that Matthias, my husband would tell you this too. I tend to ground my feet and I sometimes don't want to move forward in doing something that makes me feel scared. But I have come to the place where I do it anyway. And that was one of the reasons why I joined CrossFit too, because I knew I was going to fail at it. And I continue to do that every day, but I also get better. And I've learned that failure is okay. It's not the end of the world. And so pushing past some of these barriers, especially on that list, um, I like the one about walking into a room by yourself because I would tell you, I want you to stand outside of that room. I want you to put your shoulders back. I want you to lift your eyes up. Do not look at the floor. And I want you to walk through that doorway. And that's all you have to do. And then you can go home. You don't have to stay. Just do that part and see how that feels.
I am just, oh my God, sometimes I'm such a bobo head. Now I get it. So one of my friends who, if you met her, you would think she's the most confident woman in the world, right? When she's speaking, she's fine, but she doesn't want to go anywhere without a sidekick. Yesterday, I couldn't figure it out. She was at a networking event. She thought I was going to be there, and I wasn't. I was at another lunch, and she's calling me from the networking event as she's walking in. And I'm thinking, why? I know why now. She wanted me to be with her, like having someone to talk to while she was walking in the event.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You
She
must make her
figured
feel
it
really
out.
safe too.
That was, oh my God. I'm like, why is she calling when she's, now I understand. Oh my God. All right. We got to get this in. We have to get this in. Don't be afraid of big action. Tell me more. Like, give me examples.
Oh man. Well, I guess I'm going to give you examples from my own life.
Okay.
A big action piece for me was making the jump to move to private practice because it felt so scary. And so many times I talk to my clients and they have this big thing that they want to do that I know that they would be successful with. But it also means leaving everything they feel comfortable in and the familiarity of that. Even if the familiar is misery, it's really tough to leave it when you don't know what you're stepping into. And
Whoa,
so
whoa. Can you hold that up again? Because that's big.
uh,
Because I think it's huge for them to hear it. Even if you're leaving misery,
Mhm.
it's still hard to leave.
Still hard to leave because it's predictable. It's familiar. You know what you're going to get, even if it's miserable.
Okay.
And
That is
particularly if you're leaving a relationship, that in itself is really tough. There's a lot of security in that, even if it's an unhappy relationship. And if you're leaving, you don't know if there is going to be someone else there that you might find. You don't know what's on the other side of that.
really would love to understand the science of that because I've heard it so many different ways. I haven't heard misery. That sounds really bad, but like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. And
Yeah.
why is it? Is our brain not like changed? Like, why would we be miserable and stay there?
Yeah,
Why?
I know. We are just so wired to keep ourselves safe. And so if we know we can survive in the environment we're in, even if it's not fun, we're
Oh,
going to do it.
okay. We don't know what's over here. This we can manage.
Right, right. Because your anxiety, if I don't know if anybody has seen Inside Out 2, but anxiety thinks about every worst case scenario and plays it out. Like, you don't know, this could happen, this could happen. You could die alone. You know, you might never find anybody. That could happen. But here you have somebody, so you might as well stay.
Oh, I have to get this in. I know. I'm so sorry, peeps. I won't get to everything, but I heard this quote and this woman wrote this in too, and she wanted to know it's true. So some very lovely, well-known, like the number one coach in the world said, anxiety, just remember this, anxiety always lies. Is that true?
Oh man, I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Snapperoo. I was like, I get what they're saying,
Yeah.
but it seemed too extreme.
Yeah. Anxiety, it can be dramatic, I would say. A little bit of a drama queen. But you know, like when you have a test the next day or an exam or a finals week and you're having anxiety about that, if you didn't have any anxiety about it, would you study as hard? You know?
Hell no.
Like what would be the motivation for studying then? I think anxiety can be really helpful in keeping us safe. Like if say you're out walking in a dangerous part of town, your anxiety might be up because it's making you be on more of an alert than you would normally, which means your senses are raised and ready, which is helpful in keeping you safe. I think that's where anxiety plays a really important role.
I love you. I just want you to know that you are awesome. And I'm trying to think of here you are, this amazing therapist, and then you're probably most likely an incredible investor too. I mean, the way you think things through, oh my God, I want to hug you to pieces.
Oh, Sandy, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I can, I just love your energy. So I think I know the answer to this, but we got to know because I'm very much like in every day. What do you do before you go out into the world? So your first statement you said, don't allow your life to lead you, you lead life. My keynote is life doesn't happen to you, you happen to life. And you get to choose every day how you show up. So what do you
Huh.
do every single day? I'm getting the CrossFit. What else? Like you get up in the morning, what's your routine?
Okay. Well, get up in the morning. The very first thing I do is I drink coffee. That is something I will never, ever, ever give up.
Ooh.
But I have found that I feel ready to approach the day, whether I have plans or not, if I get a good shower in. And
Oh.
then I get in workout clothes. I just feel like in workout clothes, you can do anything. You can parent, you can jump, you can run, you can go grocery shopping, you can do whatever you want. You you can move really well. You're ready for anything.
Spoken like a CrossFit woman. I mean, come on. I know those.
Yeah, and
Is it a cold shower? Is it one of those like
no, Sandy, no, 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 no. No, I like my showers
I
nice.
like my showers warm. I don't
Yeah,
like
yeah. We do have a deep freezer in the basement that Matthias turned into a cold plunge. And I
Did he?
do, yeah, he did. And I do enjoy that. I enjoy going into the sauna for about 30, 40 minutes and then going straight into the cold plunge. It's like the best feeling in the world. But I don't tend to do that in the winter. That's usually like a spring, summer, fall.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do every morning. I come out and I do my little movement, words, and laughter routine. So I just
Yes,
look,
I remember that.
yeah. But I'm pointing to my front porch. It doesn't matter how cold it is. I go, it only takes a few minutes. It's 1 to 3 minutes. And I do my coffee. So, don't get excited here. I come downstairs, I make the coffee. The coffee's got to be going. And then while it's doing that, I go out and I do my thing on the porch where some of the neighbors sometimes see me, they giggle. But I don't mind if it's cold because I'm moving, But then when I come in and take my shower, I want it warm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You get a little bit of a cold plunge-ish,
Yeah, I
experience
mean,
there.
this winter, it's been cold
Yeah.
out there early in the morning. It's been really cold this winter. So,
Yeah, totally. I started a one line a day journal but I do that at night to
oh,
reflect
you
on the
do?
day, just to add a little bit of intention. Yeah, just to think through, what was the day, and just so it doesn't just, pass me by without me thinking about it. But I guess the only other thing I would add is I do this without thinking a lot, but I love just being really playful with my kids. And so
Oh,
that's every morning, that's every evening. It's just fun. Yeah,
yeah. Keeps you young and youthful.
totally.
All right. Erica, thank you for being on the show. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah, you're cool. So before we go though, anything I didn't get in that you want to tell women and men that support us around the world?
Oh man. I think I will just leave us with okay, this is putting me on the spot. I really don't know what to say exactly, but I would say something along the lines of if you ever catch yourself thinking that everybody else has it together, just remember that nobody does. And
Amen.
we'll leave it at
Absolutely.
that.
And I love that it was on the spot because that's so true. And guess what? I want to tell you something. If I burped, they would be happy. They don't want polished. I love the fact. See, now you believe me? We
Yeah.
didn't practice this. This is just whatever. Okay. Now, in addition to that, tell us how they can find you and or find your podcast.
Yeah. So the podcast is the REI Agent. We have a website, the reiagent.com. My practice is called Ivy and Sage Therapy, like the two plants. And my website is ivysagetherapy.com. You can find my bio there. You can message me if you want to. And then our Instagram is just REI Agent.
Okay. All right, hey, I got something to say, people. Eric and I would really appreciate you sharing like it. Oh my God, 17 years later, I just remember I have to tell people to subscribe. Oh, they're like, you've been doing this for how many years? And I forget to promote. Share, like, rate, subscribe. I'm told it really does matter. But more important, thank you for being here. I love you guys. Spread the joy. And no matter what, I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart how much I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thank you, Erica. It means the world to me.
Thank,
Toodles.
thank you.